Welcome to Seawaywhiskywire. Tonight in the bar we've got the Old Pulteney Huddart single malt Scotch Whisky. Stay tuned. Welcome to Seawaywhiskywire. I'm Tyler, and like I said, tonight in the bar we've got the Old Pulteney Huddart single malt Scotch Whisky. Comes in from the Old Pulteney core range, which consists of the 12-year-old, the Huddart, the 15-year-old, and an 18-year-old to round it off. So it's kind of right in the middle of that core range for Old Pulteney. Old Pulteney, it's a Highland distillery, comes from the Highland region, and it's the most northern Highland distillery in that region. And it sits right on the coast there in the town of Wick, which was previously Old Pulteney town. And that kind of lends itself to its namesake and its notes on the marketing material, website, and bottling about being the Maritime Malt. It's matured by the sea. They're really trying to clobber you with these oceanic and sea notes, and this brine and the salt, and kind of all those things that go with the sea and kind of impart flavor into the whiskey. So yeah, they've really kind of hit that home there too. As far as the contents of the bottle, the Old Pulteney Huddart comes in at 46% ABV, non-chill filtered, and no color added to my knowledge. So good stats overall. It sits right in that core range, like I said, and it's a step up from the 12-year-old in that regard. It's very interesting, something about this whiskey as far as like the maturation process. So it spends the first part of its life in ex-American bourbon casks, and they finish it in ex-peated whiskey casks. So they're casks that have been purchased by Old Pulteney that previously held peated whiskeys. They don't say if it's heavily peated whiskey, medium peated whiskey or anything like that, but that's where they kind of finish this whiskey off. So it's there's going to be probably some imparted ppm in there. I don't know how much it is, probably very low, but we'll have to find out kind of as we go. But yeah, there's a little bit of a peat note they're kind of searching for in there. With respect to the presentation of the bottle, it's a very, very nice bottle. It's got these little balls kind of at the top here. If you read the marketing material online and on the packaging, it explains this is kind of to mirror the still, and I'll probably throw a picture up here of the stills at Old Pulteney to kind of show you how they've done that. But yeah, it's a very nice bottle and very well built, nice and wide bottom to it. The packaging material, the canister, comes in with this grayish blue hue to it. Here, mine's a little bit beat up, but yeah, it very much presents well. There's some nice material in the back explaining kind of the history of Wick and the history of Old Pulteney, and really, again, stressing those maritime notes, the made by the sea, matured by the sea, the Maritime Malt, all those kind of good things. Being kind of an Islay guy, I get a little excited about this whiskey, just hearing all those notes there, because it's not stuff you normally get with a Highland. So yeah, before I get into the nose, I'd like to invite you that if you have a dram, or you want to pour a dram of some Old Pulteney, a Highland, even an Islay, to get some full peatedness while I go after something with a little bit of ex-peat, I encourage you. Please pour yourself a dram and drink along with me. Makes it much more fun for you, and I enjoy drinking along with you. So we'll pop the top. Nice little cork pop on the Old Pulteney Huddart. And we'll take a look at the liquid that's in the bottle. So kind of go in there and see. So there's a nice amber hue to it. It's not super dark. There's a little bit of an orange around the edges. I don't know if you can see the camera with that camera on there, but it gets a little orange around there. Yeah, nice amber color to it. Again, all natural color. It's not age statement, so we don't know how old the whiskeys are in here, but yeah, it's got a nice little bit of color to it in there for sure. Get into the nosing notes and see what we can get. So right away, I'm coming up with some pears on there. There's some oranges, some like zest, the orange zest. Some nice sweet honey in there. Some vanilla notes. You can get a little bit of that peat. I'm really struggling to find it, but I think at the back end there, you will find some peat. It's not like a medicinal peat. It's that campfire peat that, in this case, it'd be a very small campfire, but it is there, and it's very faint. Some malty notes in there as well. Some cereal notes. Yeah, yeah, very nice. Maybe a little touch of caramel as well, and vanilla, and honey. Yeah, very fruit forward at the start. Very nice on the nose. Yeah. All right, we'll get into the tasting and see what we can get out of that. Slanja. Wow, interesting. So, right off the get-go, you get those fruit notes. You get that pear, green apples, crisp green apples. Then you get that little bit of honey in there. some vanilla notes and caramel. And the brine. The brine is there. It's kind of all between the caramel, vanilla, and fruit all along the way. You get that salty, that brininess that you would get for the ocean. And I'm smiling and kind of giggling here. Yeah, there's there's peat in a little bit of peat in there. It's at the back, and it's a leathery peat, slight leathery peat. It's just kind of a hint of it there. Very interesting. I would compare it to something like an Isle of Mist. You know, it's Isle of Mist is a blend. It's got some Speyside in there as well as some Islay in the blend, and you get that little bit of smoke on there. And that's essentially what it is. It's there. It's very faint, but it is there. And yeah, you get some spice at the end. I'll go in for another sip here and let you know about the spice at the end there. Yeah. Sorry, I'm still a little floored about the peat. You don't expect it. You know, oh, we're going to do a little bit of finishing in there, and when I say they're heavily peated, matured, or heavily peated casks that they're using, I don't know. It's not like a characteristic you pick up, but it is there, and yeah, I did not expect it to be just based on the nose. Usually, when you get like an Islay, you really get that. You can really tell it's like, oh, this is going to be a peat bomb. This is going to have lots of peat to it. I didn't get it on the nose too much, and then you really get it in the back end of this, and it carries a little bit. Sorry, I was supposed to be telling you guys about the spice notes there. So and there's the apple, and the pear, and the vanilla. The spice at the end there. It's not very long. It's kind of a dry, like an allspice or a clove. A little bit of maybe nutmeg in there, but it's very light. It hangs around. It's still kind of on your palate, and it all ties in with that sea, that brininess, which is kind of always there, and that little bit of leathery peat in there too. Yeah, it's a very very interesting dram for sure. It's definitely not like the 12-year-old at all. Like probably the same kind of concept as far as the distillant's concerned and the whiskey that's created out of it, but yeah, it's different. It's very unique. Okay, yeah, very interesting. We'll get on to the finish and see if anything changes in the back end. Pretty much the same on the back. I can tell you, it's medium body, mouth filling and coating, but not like, it's not chewy, it's not heavy. It's a thinner liquid, but I would say it's medium body from that. Finish is probably, I would say, a medium finish. It does go on and hang around for a little bit, but from the transitional notes, it just kind of gradually gets into it, like, you know, your fruit notes, that honey and that sweet note from the vanilla, into that kind of that peat at the back end with a little bit of spice. Yeah, I would say it's about a medium finish. You get a little bit of an alcohol tinge to it, not much, but it is there, and I'm thinking it might be, you know, it could be because of the non-age statement. It could be because of the, you know, maybe it's because of the ex-peated whiskeys they used in the maturation process. But no, very nice and you know, quite interesting. Just complex enough, I would say. It's definitely one of those whiskeys there's not much like it, and I say that kind of funny, like, you know, yeah, I know I just compared it to an Isle of Mist, but there's not much like it. Like, you know, you go to a Speyside and you get these notes, and you go to a Lowland and you get these notes. But this is kind of a combination because you're on the coast of a Highland that they finished it with whiskey from Islay, and it's just imparted a little bit of interesting notes there. That's kind of all I can say to it. Yeah. Get into the value proposition of this particular bottle. So full disclosure, I reviewed this bottle probably maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Actually, it was a review and a presentation at our local whiskey club. I was picked to do it, and it was the first time I'd ever done any kind of whiskey reviewing, and probably had a really good influence on getting me into creating content for this channel. Was doing that time, and so I had a little bit of bias towards it, saying, hey, it's my first whiskey I presented. It was very good. It was against a couple other whiskeys. I don't really recall what they were at the time, but I remember telling people this is the one I picked as my favorite at the whiskey tasting. And yeah, I can tell you at the time it came in at just under $100. I believe it still is. Fairly readily available in my area. It's as readily available as the 12 is, and it's pretty much out there. Again, though, the 12-year-old comes in around $85, so you're talking, $15, $20 more almost in some areas. And is it worth that? I think it's interesting. I would say to definitely try this whiskey and give it a shot. Again, these notes I'm telling you, like, it's not like anything else. It's not like a very common thing to have those flavors all kind of intertwined together. Like it's a Highland Islay kind of thing going on. So I would recommend if you like those kind of flavor notes and you're all about Islay and Highlands, and I mean, if you're into whiskey, who isn't? But give it a shot. It's definitely worth the adventure. At $100, am I going to replace it? I probably would try something else in the Old Pulteney line. I'd love to get a hold of the 15 and the 18 and give them a shot. But yeah, if I saw this on sale, I'm not gonna leave it on the shelf if it's down around that $80 range or whatever. If it gets to a point where it goes on sale, yeah, I'm gonna probably pick it up again and enjoy it. We've been having a good time going through this bottle, as you can see, and yeah, it's not a regular dram on the bar, but definitely if you get some new folks kicking around, we bring friends downstairs and want to do a little tasting and say, hey, you want to try something different? I wouldn't go as far as saying it's like an entry into Islay. I would stick to those, but it's more for like that connoisseur that likes those flavors. Maybe you don't. Maybe you've had Islay. It's very smoky, and you want to get into something that's a little more less of that smoke, but still has that brine. That's those sea notes, and that seaweed. That kind of those briny, salty sea breeze, sea air, campfire pseudo notes to it. Yeah, I'd say go and give it a shot for $100. What do you got to lose? But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know if you've had the Old Pulteney Huddart and had a different experience with it, or did I hit all the tasting notes? If you like what you see on Seawaywhiskywire, please like and subscribe down below. Really appreciate everybody watching our videos and subscribing. Really like to see some comments drum up there as well. And yeah, we'll keep bringing them to you. Really enjoyed doing this, and yeah, getting into the rhythm, getting into the mode, and yeah, really starting to come together, I think. So I'll leave you guys with that. Enjoy your weekend, your evening. Slàinte, to your health, and all the best. We'll see you around. Cheers.